Yeah. So here we are, the Go Nuts podcast with Matt Ode. Am I pronouncing that right?
It's Odie, but that's okay. I
Odie.
have the
Okay.
most difficult
Yeah.
short last name.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's
Odie. Hey, man, that
ODE.
sounds pretty cool though, honestly. So because my last name is Borja. Sometimes people will pronounce it like Borja, but it's I think historically Spanish, but I'm Filipino. So
Yeah,
yeah, sometimes people just get it all mixed up, but it's all right. So
I
yeah.
love it.
But yeah, so yeah, Matt Ode is a fellow testicular cancer survivor. How long are you now out of everything?
About 3.5 years
Yeah,
cancer
3 years.
free, but obviously it's probably only been about a year to year and a half since like full recovery of everything.
Oh yeah, so did you still have to go through a little bit of a treatment and everything like that after?
Um, so it wasn't necessarily treatment, it was all the surgeries
Oh yeah,
and complications I had, which we'll get into. So it was more than just cancer. It was
yeah.
just a lot of other things that happened. So, but cancer free, I am about 3.5 years now.
There you go. That's awesome. So I'm 2 years now since I had the surgery in October 2017. Luckily for me, I was like I only had to do the surgery. I got my left testicle removed. They did give me the choice whether or not I wanted to do chemo or radiation therapy, and because I had an 85% chance of getting away scotch free. So I was like, honestly, for me, I'll take that chance and hopefully that I don't it won't affect me in the long run. And so far, yeah, I'm still good. So yeah,
Awesome, man.
yeah.
Super, super happy. It's always good to talk to survivors, especially
Hmm.
that 2 year mark is like super important.
It is.
They say like that's like for testicular cancer, like that's that big mark. It's that 2 year usually.
Oh yeah, it's empowering and it's like almost at the same time it's just like it's very relieving and all that. So, but yeah, so
Yeah.
talk to me about your whole process is like going through it when you first were like diagnosed with everything. Like what was going
Yeah.
on in your head? So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So first I'm 28 years old. I'm from
Hmm.
Cleveland, Ohio. Before I even get talked about like diagnosed, I always usually start my story off with like a
Yeah.
very important date,
Okay.
and date is March 17th of 2016. So I was 24 years old at the time, and it was St. Patrick's Day. I was out with my friends at the bar and ran into this girl. Her name was Lauren.
Hmm.
Get to talking. Within a few weeks, we start dating, and then all of a sudden, we're doing all these summer activities together. We're hiking, we're doing kayaking, all these things, and eventually. I started to notice these minor back pains. So it was really weird. Like at the time, I was a personal trainer, super fit, very health conscious. And, when you're 24, you just think you're invincible in a
Yeah, you
sense.
think you're
So
like nothing can really stop you. Like you're at
at
the world is at your disposal at that point. So
100%.
yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't go to a doctor. I went to a chiropractor eventually. So like
Hmm.
I started getting these back pains and I thought it had to do with lifting. So as weeks and months progressed, the back pain got worse and worse and worse and worse. And eventually I held off so much that one night I was over Lauren's house and I ended up waking up and I ended up puking up blood.
Yeah, I
And
remember
I was
hearing that
puking up blood like
on your
crazy.
blog. Yeah. So that was
Yeah, I mean, I was constantly puking blood for that
mhm.
entire night, for the
Oh
next
man.
day, and eventually I just had no option. I had to go to the hospital. So they rushed me to the emergency room, and they found out that I had lost 2/3 of the blood circulating in my body.
Oh my
So,
God.
yeah, usually you have your hemoglobin, which is like your blood count,
Hmm.
is usually around a 15. I was at a 5, so it was equivalent to basically being shot with a gun.
Oh wow.
So they gave me, yeah, so they gave me 6 bags of blood, and that night they put me into an emergency surgery because they thought it was an ulcer that was
Hmm.
causing the bleeding. So they go in the next morning. I'm sitting in the doctor's office, the recovery room, and I'm eating cereal thinking it's all over. And then my doctor walks in and he had this blank stare in his eyes. And I knew something was dead wrong. He goes over to my parents and he asks them and he says, "Hey, can I speak to you two in private?" And immediately I stopped him and I said, "Whatever you're going to tell my parents, like you're just going to tell me right now." So he sat down, he grabbed my hand, he looked at me and he said, "Matt, we have found an 11 centimeter tumor in your small intestine, and we believe it is cancerous. We don't know what type yet, and we have to rush you to the main campus of the Cleveland Clinic immediately," which is one of the top hospitals in the country.
Nice. Yeah.
And yeah, man. So that's like how I got diagnosed. And for me, I just remember looking over, like it was just my parents at the time. Obviously, they were
Yeah.
crying to hear the news, and
I'm
the
sure
only
they're
thing I can
devastated.
think of,
So.
yeah. But like for me,
Mhm.
like I wasn't scared. I was
Really.
more like, how can I be strong for my
Mhm.
parents? How can I be strong for Lauren that I had to
Mhm.
tell the news to? How can I be strong to my, friends and all of this? And I think this is a good message for everybody is you're gonna get unexpected news in life. Like you're
Yeah.
going to at some point.
You're gonna get
I'm
hit
not
real
saying it's gonna
hard
be
real
cancer.
quick. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. But you
yeah.
never
It could
know.
be
So
financially. It could be family. It could be anything. But if you can look at life, there's two different ways you can look at life. You can say, why is this circumstance happening to me? Or how is this happening for me?
mhm.
Now, if you say, why is this happening to me? You start making excuses. You start blaming other people. You
Yeah.
start blaming the universe. But if you say, how is this happening for me? You can use it as a lesson. You can use it as a
Mhm.
tool to push you forward and to become a better version of yourself. And that's exactly what I said. I said, I don't know how this is happening for me. I mean, I
Mhm.
just got diagnosed with cancer, but I'm going to use this as helping me mentally because remember, anything that you have to overcome in life, you have to first start with your mind. So
Yeah. It's all about the
that
mind
was a
right there.
huge
So
yeah, so
yeah.
that was a huge push for me.
Yeah.
And I guess to end this off, I was rushed to the Cleveland
Mhm.
Clinic, and they did a bunch of tests on me, and eventually they found out that I had stage 3C testicular cancer. And I had family, friends
Yeah.
flooding in at the time, and I was emotionless still. Like I still didn't really have like any emotions. And then Lauren
Really.
comes in.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lauren walks in, and I just start freaking out because we'd only been dating for 2.5 months at that time.
Mhm.
And to put that burden on her, I was like, if she wants to break up
Yeah.
with me,
Mhm.
like whatever she does. And
Mhm.
she came over and she basically like gave me a massive hug. We started crying, and
Mhm.
right then I knew she was gonna be my rock throughout this entire journey.
That's
So
amazing right there. So yeah, it's like it's crazy like thinking like because even when I was going through it that like that I love when you said like how is this happening for me because what I was going through in my head when I was just diagnosed is like why is this happening to me, like I was like I
hmm
felt really bad and felt like almost terrible. It's like thinking it's like is it because of like any past things that I've done, or is it just kind of blaming on things that ever happened, or whether it's myself or like the things around me, or it was like the way I was treating myself, or like even like taking care of myself, things like that. So, but I really love that like you right off the bat you're hitting it hard, like we're like all right, why is this happening to me, like I'm gonna make sure like I'm there to be like even with the support of my family and friends, like I'm gonna
yeah,
just be the best I can. And then
and
and even with having Lauren to like be there for you with like with you during all this, like you almost don't want to put that burden on people sometimes. You don't want just
mhm.
even though like they're there for you, your friends and your family, it's like you almost feel guilty in a way. And that's what I was going through in my head. And like I love how you're able to like even just flip that real quick to like be like no, it's okay, I'm gonna make sure I get through this whether or not it's like with those things happening around you. But like it's I love that. So yeah.
No, I appreciate it. And one thing I would
Yeah.
say is it's, first hindsight's 2020, and it's
Yeah.
very easy to be a victim to yourself. Like,
Hmm.
and trust me, when you start to hear more of my story, I was
Yeah.
very much a victim, and I very much went into those deep depression,
Yeah.
anxiety feels.
Hmm.
Um, but at that moment, I just didn't. But it is very you are in the normal. When people hear they are
Hmm.
diagnosed with cancer, it's very easy to say, well, what could have I done, or how
Yeah.
could have I got how what could have I done to either make this less
Yeah.
of a higher advance, or just how could have I not made this happen. So
Yeah.
that's the one thing I've really learned in life is when you can take away the
Hmm.
situations that you cannot control in your life, like that you can't control. You think you could have controlled it in a yes,
Hmm.
but you really can't control your
Yeah.
past anymore. So my
Yeah.
point being when I say you stop worrying about things you can't control, that means take your past and either use it as a lesson
Hmm.
or don't use it as anything at all, because all
Yeah.
it's going to do is going to cause depression or anxiety into your life. So
It's
um
amazing right there.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was kind of my feeling in the whole situation, and trust me,
Nice.
it's a lot easier said than done.
Yeah, it is like because trying to even have that mindset. Like for me, it took me some time to get to that point. Like for me, it was like I all right, if I'm because with cancer, you almost feel like it's the end of the world. You think like it could get worse. It could like things could get even like just everything
hmm
around you could get worse. So it's like trying to make sure you're mentally there and be like, all right. Like for me, like I was thinking like, all right, no matter what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make sure I do the right thing. Just as if I can get past this, I'm gonna just make sure that I leave like a good like almost like legacy in all that way, in that way to like be like
yeah,
all right, I'm here to make sure that I'm gonna leave my impact no matter what. So like with that said, like too, like with that mindset, like what do you think, like with just even thinking about how you said like you want to like just keep going, like what do you think, that you had the mindset before, or do you think something triggered it during that whole process that like said that all right,
it's
I need to do this, I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna be the best I can. So
Yeah, that's a great question. I think I had it
Yeah.
before in a sense because my dad, I've
Yeah.
always been into sports or lifting or running and things like that. And my dad's always pushed me to,
Mhm.
really kind of be great in anything I do and always have that strong mindset of like, listen, like you're going to get knocked down, you're going to fail, you're going to
Mhm.
have these situations where there's a bunch of adversity in your life, but you can take it, like I said, two ways. He never told me that. I kind
Mhm.
of learned that through somebody else, but like
Yeah.
really, he taught me to be strong in those situations. And
That's
my
awesome.
mother, on the other hand, taught
Mhm.
me to have faith in myself. So I think it comes down to two different things: having a strong mindset, but also having faith. And when I say faith, it doesn't
Mhm.
mean, for me, it's believing in God, but for other people, it might be something else. But having faith
Yeah.
in yourself is beyond powerful. And I'm telling you,
Mhm.
like, there is, as you hear my story, there is
Yeah.
definitely faith involved. So
Yeah, I think it's like just like having the good faith in not just like the, a God or religion, just it's like faith in yourself, faith in your friends and your family, knowing that like no matter what they're gonna be there for you, and no matter what you are yourself is gonna be there for yourself. It's like knowing that like it is that leap of faith. It's kind of like just taking, all right, I'm gonna do this and make sure and the best I can, no matter what the consequences are. Like if
yep.
it's gonna get worse or anything like that, and then yeah, you just keep going, and that's amazing that you're literally like turning yourself into a superhero. From like I love it on Instagram. It's like saying from survivor to superhero, and I'm all about superheroes too. Like I'm like Marvel, everything like that. It's like
I love
even
it.
for me as like in going through my life, I like to think of myself as that character like, that's going through this journey, like whether it's in a comic book or a movie. It's like what is this
Mhm.
movie that is about yourself? Like how are you gonna like turn this around into the best thing that can ever happen? And like one of my favorite quotes is it's like it's like something that Gerard Way from My Chemical Romance said is like it's like one day your life is gonna flash before your eyes. Make sure it's worth watching. So yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it's
I
like think of
love
yourself
that.
as like a movie.
That's
So
powerful.
yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, like superheroes is what got me into working out.
Hmm.
Honestly, like
Yeah.
seeing like all these superheroes and their strength and their powers, like
Hmm.
you feel like you want to have some type of strength in your life. So,
Yeah.
um, it's kind of funny. It's kind of ironic that like the superhero part brought me to, in the sense, this. That's what kind of started everything for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. So I mean, I can kind of keep going with my story if you want me to kind of just keep pushing forward.
Yeah,
But
of course. Yeah. I mean, like
awesome.
honestly, you keep going from there. It's like, let me hear you. Who's your
Yeah.
favorite superhero that like really inspired you when you were like? Do you think
Oh
it was
man.
like kind of like birth ever since you were a kid? That like, all right, I'm gonna be just like this, and it kind of led you into going through cancer as like just this
Yeah.
big wall that you're gonna have to overcome. Like,
Yeah. My favorite superhero, gosh, I had a couple, but
yeah.
I would say that Batman was one of them for sure.
Yeah.
Because the reason I like Batman so
Hmm.
much is because he's like us. Like he
Yeah.
he doesn't have like a superpower that's like
Hmm.
Superman where he flies and all these. It's his knowledge, it's his mind.
Hmm.
Watching the shows, like like actually watching the movies too, like, and seeing him go into the mountains and create his identity. He
Yeah.
shifted his identity is what he did. He shifted himself. He went
Hmm.
from being just a normal person to
Yeah.
this person that can save the world. And that's what always like gravitated towards me, was like, wow, you know he's human just like anybody
Hmm.
else. And honestly, like, there's people out there, there's not Batmans, but there's like people out there that have shifted their life around.
Yeah.
So for me, it's always been Batman. That's probably been my number one, because
Hmm.
he's human. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, he wasn't given anything, he created it all,
Yeah. And I
so
love
I
that.
think it's pretty dope.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for me, it's like Spider-Man. It's like think it's like but first he's just a regular person, and all of a sudden you realize that like, all right,
Yeah,
you're given this like great responsibility to like really take on the world and all, and like some yeah, like in with us going through
I
cancer,
love
it's like
that quote.
yeah, with great power becomes great responsibilities. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
it's a
yeah,
good one.
yeah. So like with that,
So
it's like and that's what even with like where I we started creating Save a Nuts because like I wanted to help save not just like myself but save everyone else and all because
super powerful.
at the end of the day we're our own heroes, and we either let these things that come against us like really take us down, or we use it as fire to fuel us literally into space kind of thing. So we're
That's
gonna
yep.
yeah, we're
I
going just
love it,
higher and
man.
higher from here. So it's like that's
Yeah.
with that like alone that just is inspiring, and like that's why I with when I made Save a Nut, like I just just wanted to make sure that like no matter what, like I'm helping like others, like really not just with the sake of cancer but also just mental health, just making sure that they're okay, that they're doing the best they can.
Yeah,
And
there's so much more to it. Like, once
yeah.
you start to realize, dude, like, I love being in a niche right now where I'm
Hmm.
helping like survivors, and you're helping
Yeah.
testicular cancer survivors. You're really niche down. But you're
Yeah.
going to start to notice that like there's going to be so many more people that gravitate towards you as
Mhm.
well, not just survivors. Like there's going to be people that just need your help. It's almost like a Tony Robbins. Like he started off
Yeah.
very niche down into a
Mhm.
certain thing, and now look who he helps. He helps like everybody in this like entire
Yeah.
freaking world. Like I mean, there's so many other people, but I'm just saying
Yeah.
him as in like mental health kind of person. So
Yeah. It's like really great to like just be like you the way you like you are, and like just being just overall just positive and best you can be. Like it becomes a very magnetic like kind of feeling where people see that they want to just go with it and be like that, say be very like as magnetic as you are, and it is inspiring because like it's what it seems like for me to like you seem to be like very similar to me, where it's like you just want to just keep going and keep going, be the best you
yeah.
can, and then people just are attracted to that, they love that. So
You
yeah.
know why?
Hmm.
Because it's like you start to realize that the most successful people, the Oprahs, the Rocks, the
Hmm. Like the
like
Gary V's, like the
there you go,
Casey
Gary
Neistat thing.
V.
Yeah.
Exactly, dude.
Mm-hmm.
They're no different than us.
Yeah.
Like they started off where we are now.
Hmm.
Some people start off earlier in their life. Some people start off later in their life. They just had a never giving up mentality. And yes,
Hmm.
they use their talents. So some of them have amazing talents that they use. We all have talents,
Yeah.
but sometimes we just let them go. A lot of people, like if I asked them, I would say 95% of people, if I said, hey, what are you passionate about? Or what do you think your purpose is in life?
Hmm.
Purpose, I probably 98% of people couldn't tell you. Even passion,
Hmm.
probably 90 to 95% of people wouldn't even know what their passion is in life.
Yeah.
Like, think about
There's.
that. Like, they don't even know what they love, like what they're
Hmm.
good at. Like,
Yeah.
and it's like, that's the problem is like these really successful people, they knew what they were good at.
Hmm.
And they said, I don't care who gives me negative energy. I don't care what's in my way. I'm going to use it to help other people,
Yeah.
period. And that's
Mhm.
why they became the greatest. Michael Jordan, all these
Exactly.
people.
They all started from like something small, and then all of a sudden they just kept going with their passion. And then sometimes it
Yep.
just takes like digging really hard, like deep, and trying to figure out what that is. And sometimes it comes out of something that you never expect to happen. Say like for us, it's like cancer and all that stuff. And with everything, it takes time to realize that. And like going through like your whole process, and I see that you're starting to make a whole lot of content with your story. When did that like really become like a thing that, all right, I'm going to put myself out there and then start like making this content that's going to show and help inspire
Yeah.
people? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like,
Mhm.
so, I mean, a lot of it came after cancer. So as a
Mhm.
survivor, I
Yeah.
mean, I went through a lot. So, do you want me to share that part first, or do you want me to kind of share like how I got up to it? Like I can share like the version of like what got me to sharing it, or do you want me to just kind of go right into that? Like for me, it
We can take
was
the steps to it because everything is in
okay.
steps. Like sometimes, like when you
Yeah,
look
I
back
think
at it, like it all makes sense. But like
yeah.
when you first start,
So
like you try to figure out your way. So yeah.
100%. So
Hmm.
like, okay, so we'll kind of start with where we left off. So I was
Yeah.
on a bunch of chemotherapy. Did you go through bleomycin or like, did you do chemo?
So I didn't do the chemo actually. They gave me the
Okay, you did. Yeah,
choice.
I remember you told.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, they gave me the choice, but I was like, you know what? I have 85% chance. Like, throughout college, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna keep, like
Hmm.
C's get degrees kind of thing. Where it's like, all right, I'll take what I can get kind of thing. So I just went with it like from there. So, but yeah,
No,
as you're
that's
saying,
awesome,
so
man.
yeah.
Dude, absolutely. So yeah, so
Yeah.
I was put on five
Mhm.
really intense rounds of chemo. It was called
Mhm.
cisplatin, etoposide, and bleomycin.
Mhm.
Um, and you go through the whole symptoms. I'm sure you've known somebody who's gone through
Yeah.
chemotherapy. You lose your hair, you're
Mhm.
extremely fatigued, you can't get out of bed most
Mhm.
of the times. I mean, you're nauseous, all of the above.
Yeah.
For me, what really hit me hard was right in the middle of it. My 3-year-old puppy actually passed away from cancer,
Oh,
and
really?
before that, I would take him to all his chemotherapy sessions. So like
Mhm.
he was diagnosed before I was, and
Yeah.
it really hit me mentally after that. Like for me, I started to saying, why is this happening to me? I started
Yeah.
making those excuses in life. And eventually I just like woke up one day and was like, this is not how I should be living my life at all. So I
Yeah.
was like, you know what? Lauren would need better of me, my parents, my
Mhm.
dog, everybody. So I persevered. I got up. I started doing little things every day. What I did
Mhm.
was I just got up off of my bed, and that was an accomplishment.
Yeah.
Next
It
day, I
is
maybe
every
took a
little
couple
step.
steps,
So.
like
Mhm.
everything. So eventually, I persevered, and after chemo, that's when all the massive complications in my life happened. So
Oh,
after
really?
that, I went to my oncologist, and he sat down with me and he said, Matt, we have good news and we have bad news. Your 11-centimeter tumor has shrunk to 3 centimeters, but the bad news is your tumor is wrapped around what's called your inferior vena cava. Now, your
Mhm.
inferior vena cava is like a central vein that goes from the bottom of your upper body to your heart. We're going to have to do a 10 to 12-hour surgery with 3 to 4 surgeons involved, and we have no idea what the complications are going to be. So 3 weeks goes by, which were like the longest 3 weeks of
Yeah.
my life. I get the surgery, and when I woke up, so when I was going into the surgery, I was 140 pounds. Like I told you before, I was a
Yeah.
185-pound personal trainer, so I lost about
Mhm.
100, about 40 to
Yeah, like
45
40
pounds.
pounds to me,
Coming
like for
out,
yeah, you look like skin, like you almost feel like you're skin and bones at that point too when you lose that much.
yeah,
So
well,
yeah.
yeah, exactly. And
Hmm.
coming out of the surgery, I was almost 200 pounds. So what had happened
Hmm.
was I had massive swelling in my stomach,
Oh really?
and I woke up and I couldn't move for like 3 days. Eventually, I asked the doctor, I said, "Is this normal?" He says, "It's not normal, but the fluid should drain out of your stomach." They had like a
Hmm.
drain. So 2 weeks goes by, I'm out of the hospital, and all of a sudden the fluid or the draining just stops like that.
Yeah.
Within like an hour, I'm in so much pain. I get rushed back to the emergency room where they end up having to drain 7 liters of fluid out of my stomach, caused me to go into complete kidney and liver failure. I had a cone drilled inside my head because they thought I was
Really?
going to have brain swelling. I had a catheter in my chest. I had in my neck because I was on my
Oh man.
dialysis
Yeah.
the rest of
Yeah.
my life. And then I ended up falling into a 2 week non induced coma as
Oh
well.
really?
Yeah. So a lot of complications happened like that.
Yeah.
And like, here's a testimony of faith though. Like when I was in that coma, we had
Hmm.
hundreds of prayer services. Like you're
Yeah.
not sorry, hundreds of people that would go to these prayer services. We had 3 prayer services, but we had
Hmm.
hundreds of people that would go to them.
Oh yeah.
Well, in the middle of the last prayer service was the day that I woke up from my coma.
Oh
And
really?
for me, it was like, God kind of telling me, Matt, this isn't the end of your journey. This
Hmm.
is this is just the beginning. And
Yeah.
make a long
It's
story
amazing.
short. No, I appreciate it. Yeah, to make a
Hmm.
long story short, because I can go real in detail on this, but
Yeah.
I ended up in the ICU for over 40 days. I 2 week or a week after I was out of my coma, I ended up going into cardiac arrest where they end up
Hmm.
having to do 8 minutes of CPR on me, and I fell back into another 1 week
Oh wow.
coma.
Yeah.
I woke back up and I had to completely relearn to walk again. From laying in my bed to sitting took almost a week. From sitting to standing took almost a week. From standing to taking my very first steps again was almost a 3 week process. I ended up having 5 surgeries while I was in the clinic I ended up being in the clinic for 53 days, and I had
Oh
five
wow.
surgeries in that clinic. Yeah, I had 5 surgeries. Well, on the fifth surgery, so what happened was I had 4 surgeries and everything was going okay, and they went to go wheel me out of the hospital
Hmm.
into like my final stages of my recovery. And as they did so, I had massive stitches from my left hip to my right. Well, my stitches had popped open and my
Oh wow.
spleen was out of my stomach, so they had to rush me into a fifth major surgery, and they had to do what's called an open wound surgery.
Hmm.
So the open wound surgery means they couldn't close me back up, so they had to leave like a football sized wound on my stomach where they put a mesh over it. And that was the only way that they could kind of keep everything in control. So
Hmm.
eventually I persevered. I got out of that. I was into my final stages of physical therapy. And once I was released from the hospital, I was released 53 days after the hospital. I was released on March 17th of 2017. It's
Hmm.
exactly 1 year from when I met Lauren. And
Yeah.
I didn't mention this so much to you because like
Hmm.
I didn't go into too much detail, but
Yeah.
she slept every single day with me when I was going through chemotherapy,
Oh
whether it's in the
yeah.
hospital bed at my
Hmm.
house. And then she stayed in the hospital all 53 days
That's
when
incredible.
I was there. She didn't leave unless she had to go to
Yeah.
work. She wouldn't go out with her friends. She wouldn't do, and she was,
Hmm.
one of the days was her birthday, actually.
Hmm.
She just didn't leave. She
Wow.
just would stay. She would wake up at 6 in the morning, come see me, go to work, stay till they basically kicked her out, and then she
Hmm.
would repeat. And
Yeah.
there was a hotel in the hospital. So she would stay there.
Yeah.
But I would say for 45 of those 53 days, I couldn't
Yeah.
even talk,
Oh
couldn't say
wow.
anything.
So
So yeah, so she just stay there. So
that's
that
when
was
you know
God
that's
in
your
my
rock right there. So that's
yeah,
what you knew. So
exactly, man.
yeah.
And for me,
Mhm.
it was like God putting her in my life. And once again, I
That's
don't push
amazing.
faith on anybody. I'm just sharing my
Mhm. Yeah,
testimony
of
of
course.
God
Yeah,
and what
it's
He's done.
like
So
yeah, what you believe in, it coincides with it.
exactly,
It helps, and like it just having that
yeah,
support group really just is everything. So yeah,
100%. And like
yeah.
for me, like I don't question things anymore because like that day has always been like St.
Mhm.
Patrick's Day. It's a lucky day. We're both
Yeah,
Irish. We
that's your lucky charm right there. So
oh
yeah,
my gosh, and yeah,
yeah.
and she's brought
Mhm.
into my life that like there's no
That's
question
amazing.
like
Yeah.
that I have some type of faith towards that.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, you just
um
kind of look back and all of a sudden you realize that yeah, like things happen for a reason. Like no matter what it is,
exactly.
like you find like your strength, you find your love right there, and it becomes that much more of that. your strength to keep going. And as you were like, you lost like 40 pounds as a personal trainer, like, and gaining that weight from all those like
And then
injuries and
coming out of
everything
the
like that. Yeah.
hospital, yeah, coming
Yeah.
out of the hospital was
Mhm.
110 pounds. So
Yeah.
I lost 90
Yeah. It was
pounds in 53
fluctuating. So
days. It
yeah.
was
So
really
like,
bad.
yeah, I bet that having that go through, like having you go through all that, it probably affected like your mental state. Like you were thinking like, all right, like how do I keep the strength to go on? Like was it
I
because that
was
your friends, your family, and then Lauren helping you through that?
It was my yes, and I'll tell you like a key pivotal moment while I was in the
Yeah.
hospital at least.
Yeah.
So after my fifth surgery,
Hmm.
I ended up back in the ICU room.
Hmm.
So, I was finally out of the ICU room and then I get right back in it with like 4 days later. And when I woke up, I was very conscious. Like when I woke up from
Hmm.
my coma, I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
I wasn't conscious. I didn't really know. When I woke up from my second coma, I was still not very conscious and I still didn't really know what was going on.
Hmm.
This time, I knew exactly where I was. And the scariest part was I had a breathing tube shoved down my throat. I had my
Yeah.
hands tied, like literally tied to the bed, and so were my legs because I was moving so much, I guess,
Really?
that they had to tie me up. Yeah, I guess like I was
During your
like
coma?
well, no, this wasn't my coma. This was
Oh,
after
okay.
my fifth
Oh,
surgery. So I
after
had
the
my
surgery. Okay.
coma.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I had my coma,
Oh,
then I
wow.
had then cardiac arrest, which
Okay.
led me into another coma,
Okay.
and then I went through all the surgeries. So yeah, I was strapped to the bed. I woke up. I knew exactly where I was, but I couldn't
Hmm.
tell a nurse. I couldn't tell anybody else awake. And I just remember sitting there for
Hmm.
like 2 days just not being able to say a single word. Nobody knew I was awake,
Yeah.
and all I could do was think, and all I could do was
Yeah.
pray. And I remember like being in a
Hmm.
rock bottom moment and just being like, "Listen, like, for me, I was praying. I was saying, I have two options here. I can give up on my life. I can say I'm done. I fought as hard as I could, or I could say, listen, I'm in the lowest part of my life, and the only place I can go from here is up."
Hmm.
And that's a good lesson for a lot of people. A lot of
Yeah.
people right now feel,
Pressure
especially with
creates diamonds. So yeah.
yeah, and
Mhm.
especially with what's going on. My gosh, not just COVID. Now, Black Lives Matter. All
Yeah.
these things, like
Exactly.
everything is
Hmm.
just everyone's
It's
in.
really like like boiling up, and like it's gonna turn into
Yeah,
something amazing. So, and then that's how you turned your life around, because like at the lowest part, you're like, all right, I need to like either go up from here or not. So it's literally the make or break right there. So
yeah. You don't have an
yeah.
option, like and
Yeah.
that's where it doesn't have to be a crazy health scare. It could be
Yeah.
so many things in life. So
Yeah.
that was my turning point. And then coming out of the hospital, it was not rainbows and butterflies. I'll tell you that. I mean,
I
like
bet.
I said, I
Yeah.
was 110 pounds, and for me, I had to really, really work, and I would have had a lot of ups and
Hmm.
downs. But I'll just make it once again. Long story short, it
Hmm.
took me a full year for my stomach, the skin to grow over, because the skin had to naturally grow over the wound. It took a
Hmm.
full year to do that. Took a full year to gain 50, 55 pounds, and I had to every little day I had to do something, whether it's just taking a step or lifting a 5 pound dumbbell or
Hmm.
eating something healthy. Once
Yeah.
again, it's just one little thing every
Yeah.
day, and
Taking little steps every single
yeah.
one. So yeah.
So exactly. So once I figured out, like, once I took care of my health, once I took care of my body, like I told you, remember, like, hey, when did you feel like you recovered?
Yeah.
And I said, hey, it took a long time. It took a
Yeah.
long time to fully recover my body. So
Yeah.
eventually I did that, and I said, you know what, like, what's my next step in life? Like
Yeah.
I've gone through cancer. I taken care of my body. I've started to train my mind, and now it's like, what's my purpose?
Yeah.
So I ran across this guy named Ed Milet,
Hmm.
and he's a very successful entrepreneur. He is also like a very motivational person, and
Hmm.
he totally changed my perspective, totally changed my life. So for me, that was a total game changer,
Yeah.
and that's what kind of got me to say I need to get into the speaking industry. I needed to get into
Hmm.
the coaching industry. And remember, like we talked about before,
Yeah.
that's why I started creating content, was because I knew that my message and story needed to be heard, and I needed to get it out there. So like I figured, if the only you could have the most amazing story in the world, but if people can't hear you, what's the
Yeah.
point of sharing it? So
Exactly.
that's why
So
I started posting on social media,
yeah.
and I felt like I needed to share my story first of why all that happened. And I
Yeah, and
share a
that's the
lot of
biggest thing. So yeah, just like telling people, all right, what you went through, and then become like the next best thing, because like that's where it starts. Like, in what was it like to even like kind of come out and be like, all right, this is my story. What were your thoughts going into that? Like, did you have like second thoughts? Oh, I'm nervous about this. I'm nervous about doing that. What was, what helped you get past that, and then say, hey, I'm going to put myself
um
out there. So
Absolutely. I think what helped me was
Yeah.
realizing that people can relate to your vulnerability. When
Yeah.
people don't just relate to Lambos and
Hmm.
millions of dollars and all this
Yeah.
success. Like everybody has their what's called superhero story.
Hmm.
We'll go for The Rock, for example. He always
Yeah.
talks about having $7 in his bank account. People really relate to that. Like
Yeah.
they really relate to the people that have gone through the tough times and then became these successful people. So for me, I started thinking of cancer is bigger than myself. So I
Hmm.
stopped letting it define me. So many people after cancer let it define them. They get
Yeah.
anxiety because they think it's
They
going
kind
to
of
come
put it
back.
underneath the
They
rug
think
or
that
something like that. So
they
they
get
like
PTSD.
they try to stay away from it. And yeah, it is a form of PTSD. So yeah,
And
it's all
that's
about the
understandable
vulnerability.
too.
Yeah.
It's very
Hmm.
understandable. I was just very lucky to realize very quickly
Hmm.
that my cancer was not about me anymore.
Yeah.
Like I was done with it. And the more that I kept, remember I said you can't change the past. So the
Yeah.
more I would just worry about the past, the more anxious I would, or worry about what could happen in the future,
Hmm.
I would just get anxiety or I get depression. So I said,
Yeah.
you know
Same here.
what? Exactly. How can I help people? Just like what you're doing,
Yeah.
how can I help people? How can I be bigger than myself? When you become
Hmm.
bigger than yourself, when you become bigger than cancer, then
Yeah.
you learn to serve others. And then it becomes,
Hmm.
you know, all of that negative energy and all of that, like, all of that anxiety goes away because
Yeah.
it's bigger than you. So that's what really helped me, man. That's what got me to sharing my content. And really, dude, like,
Yeah.
I don't care anymore. Like, I can post something, and if somebody doesn't like my content, then they don't like my content. You know
Yeah,
what? Like,
it
I'm
doesn't
not trying
matter
to
then
serve
at that
you.
point. So exactly. You're trying to just serve the
Exactly.
best, like the people who like really care about what you're doing. And like that's important about being vulnerable is like like just putting yourself out there and not worrying about what everyone else thinks. Even for me, is like when I first wanted to come out and be like, hey, I went through testicular cancer. Like I didn't want people to feel bad for me. I wanted people to feel like almost empowered and inspired to like, let's do this together. Let's help everybody out and let's make sure we can save the world in the way that we best can. So, and then it comes with just telling your story and telling people about what you've been through. Even for me, it's like before, like I almost felt like almost like inferior about telling about my story about what I've been through because like you sometimes when you go through cancer, it just makes you feel like just so like almost belittled in a way. So it's like just using it as fuel to keep going and like yeah, and I think that's amazing that you're using that to like do the best of your abilities to just keep going, and that's I love that. So, like, what do
I
you like to?
appreciate that,
Yeah,
man.
of course, yeah. What do you what with having to help others and making sure that you're doing the best you can for others? Sometimes like you get through that overexhaustion, you get through like almost like burnout. Like what are the ways that you help yourself make sure you don't burn out? So, yeah,
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 I'm gonna say this real quick.
yeah,
Your
yeah.
time and your energy is your
Hmm.
most important currency in life.
Yeah,
Think
it
about that.
is.
If you don't
It's so
have
important.
time and you don't have energy, you
Hmm.
cannot impact the people you need to in your life.
Yeah.
And this is what I do. I protect my time first,
Hmm.
and that allows me to protect my energy. So what I do is
Exactly.
I make sure I have a good morning routine. When
Hmm.
you have a good morning routine, you set yourself up for success.
Yeah.
When you can do that, when you have a good morning routine, it allows you to, keep that energy, in flow, which for me, I do meditation. Meditating
That
and
helps
allowing
so
me to
much.
clear my mind. Oh my
Oh
God,
yeah.
it's amazing because
Hmm.
what you can do is you can clear all. This is the problem. We wake up and the first
Yeah.
thing we do is we grab our phone.
I know,
And then
right?
what do? We go on social
You
media.
go on
I don't
Instagram, you
touch
go
my
on
phone.
YouTube. Yeah. So.
Yep. I don't touch
Mhm.
my phone for the first 30 minutes to an hour before I wake up
Oh
because
really?
once again, yes. And this is why. So
That's really great. Yeah.
There's a guy named Jim Quick, and you should definitely
Yeah.
check this out. It's called
Oh yeah.
Limitless.
Hmm.
It's a good book. He talks about a morning routine,
Yeah.
and his big thing is you're the most creative and you have the most energy and you're the most creative when you wake up. You're the most alert as well.
Hmm.
So the second that you start grabbing your phone is the second that your mind just goes in 100 different emails or social
Yeah.
media
It
or
starts draining
DMs,
you
all.
almost right away.
You're
So.
already drained. You're
Yeah.
done for your energy's
Yeah.
already went from 100 to
Hmm.
70 in a matter of 20 minutes. So
Hmm.
what you should do is first grab like a glass of water. If you take vitamins, take your
Yeah.
vitamins. Then I always say do meditation first. So
Hmm.
clear that mind even more. Just get clear on your day.
Yeah.
Vision out your day. Vision out what you want to do. And then gain some knowledge, whether it's reading or listening to a podcast, but
Hmm.
do something that's going to gain knowledge. So remember,
It's
you
gonna keep
have
your
your
brain
thoughts.
inspired. So yeah, not
Exactly. You're the
drained.
most
Yeah.
alert.
Hmm.
Exactly. Yeah. You're the most alert and you can obtain the most knowledge when you
Yeah.
first wake up. So read something. Then get your body in a state of active, like
Mm-hmm.
try to do some type of activity. You don't have to do a full workout, but here's two
Yeah, but just
options. You
something
can either
little.
work
So yeah.
out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can either just get something little, work out, or do a full workout,
Yeah.
or take a cold shower. Cold
Mm-hmm.
showers are absolutely amazing because what they do is they
Mm-hmm.
boost your immune system and they boost your energy. It's like taking a cup of coffee. Like
Yeah.
give it a shot.
I know.
If
Yeah,
you
man.
do
I
a
need to
cold
get on that too.
shower,
Yeah.
you do a
Cool.
cold shower,
Mm-hmm.
man, like you are going to be
Mm-hmm.
super energized throughout the day. So that's my just the
Yeah.
start of my morning. And
Yeah.
then what I do is I make sure I write
No worries.
everything in a calendar.
Yeah.
So having everything in a calendar allows you to realize, okay, what are my three, like for me, it's like, what are my three top priorities in my life?
Mm-hmm.
My three top priorities are Lauren, since I live with her. So like people I love, like,
Yeah, she's your
making
rock
sure
right there.
that
Yeah,
family,
it's
exactly.
she's your
Family,
partner. She's your team right there. So yeah.
100%. So
Mm-hmm.
family, health, and for me right now, it's my business. So like those are
Yeah.
my three big things. So family could be friends too, but like
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
family, health, and helping others is
Mm-hmm.
how I like say impact, but it's also business. So
Yeah.
you have to protect your time and you have to realize which parts of the days is for business, which parts of the days is
Mm-hmm.
for working out and taking care of your
Yeah.
health, and
Balance.
and health could also mean your personal life. So my morning routine is my health in a sense, but I also have
Yeah.
a part of the day where I work out. I like playing
Just take it
tennis,
like
or I
yeah.
like, yeah,
Exercise, yeah,
something.
just like let out that energy. So sometimes when you're just cooked up at home, it just like you feel like so like almost like bottled up. And honestly, because of quarantine, I've been like actually feeling like I'm so off of my routine. I meditate just about as much as I can because I have like this little app. It's called Simple Habit. 5-minute meditations. That's all it takes, and it really helps me like really get through my day. But like ever since like quarantine, COVID, and everything like that, like just working from home sometimes can throw you off so much. And then do you work at an office or do you like work from home
Yep.
mainly too?
So
Yeah.
I'm in addition to like me doing motivational
Yeah.
speaking and coaching,
Yeah.
I'm also I have a job as well right
Yeah.
now that eventually I'll be doing all that full time. But
Mhm.
I work in a it's a office because I'm a wellness instructor and a
Mhm.
personal trainer. But
Yeah.
I'm also like, I get it, man. Like you get off because you've been in a
Yeah.
building for so long and now you're at home.
Yeah. Just cooked up
So
at home and just like I almost get thrown off because like you feel like you have so much more time to just do whatever. It almost makes you feel lazy and like honestly like this entire COVID is like it makes complete sense to stay at home. Just try to make it work at home. But like sometimes when you're stuck at home, you almost feel like that you don't have to do anything because like sometimes the act of doing nothing, it almost feels like yeah, it feels so great. So like, but also at the same time, it builds up that anxiety. So it's like, what have
yep.
you been able to do to like help yourself stay on routine with all this stuff going on? So
Yeah, I think the number one thing
yeah,
is, well, like I said before, morning
yeah,
routine was massive for
yeah,
me,
morning
but
routine.
also
So
and meditation. But
mhm.
for me too is keep myself active.
Yeah,
So like a lot of the times we fall into slumps because
yeah,
we don't actually go out and move, and we don't
hmm
also eating the right foods too. Like keeping yourself healthy is
hmm
what's going to give you more energy throughout the day. Like
oh for sure. Yeah,
your health is your engine. This is what I say.
hmm
Your health is your engine, meaning it's your productivity level, it's
yeah,
your energy, it's your confidence. It's just like everything. So you have to
yeah,
take care of yourself first before you can be, present with the family or be
hmm
able to help the people you want to help. So it's easy to just say, hey, like you're at home. It's easy to just be like, damn, it's 2 o'clock. I can just
yeah,
go take a nap. No one's gonna freaking know. Like,
yeah.
and I've done that before too, where it's like, and then you wake up and you're like, shit, I could have done so much more work. I
Yeah,
could
you
have done
start
this.
building
So
up
you
that
feel
anxiety. I'm like, oh,
unproductive.
I gotta keep doing this and that. Like sometimes the
Yeah.
reason why I wake up super early in the mornings is because I always have that anxiety. Like, oh, I need to keep doing this. I need to keep working. So way like I don't feel that laziness, that slump.
Absolutely.
But of course, with the whole quarantine, stay at home thing, it's really hit it hard. Where it's like, all right, I don't have to do anything right now because sometimes like it's I'm always like doing something, but because of everything that like hit, like it's just
It's
it
easy.
yeah, you
But
become a
also
snail
realize
almost
this
in a
too.
way.
Like,
So yeah,
yeah, realize this too. Don't be so hard on yourself. Like,
sometimes I am
we
a
are
little too hard on
so,
myself.
oh, we all
Yeah,
are. We
yeah.
all are, man.
We're
Like, we
we're
are
ourselves
so
our
hard.
biggest critics. So yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? Like that, all that's going to do is
Mhm.
cause so much stress that's not even like it's
Oh
not
yeah.
even something we should be doing. Like it's going to cause unnecessary stress on our life
Mhm.
because we're so hard on ourselves.
Yeah.
It's good to push yourself, but there's a
hmm
certain limit where you need to realize that like you're going to fuck up.
Yeah.
Like you're going to make
Exactly. Yeah.
mistakes
Mhm.
sometimes.
Yeah.
So
Lack of a better term. Yeah. Just like sometimes like if you just don't like put yourself like to push yourself like you'll fuck up and like literally like just make something like not happen. But I think it's like the anxiety of fucking up sometimes makes me like keep going and all that stuff. But also at the same time, it
Yeah.
makes me like almost scared to like do some things sometimes, like because of the whole like staying at home. Like it just kind of makes you feel like you're stuck, like not having to be able to do things. But at the same time, there's still so much to do even when you're at home. Like you like gives you more time to like really take care of yourself and think about that. But then
Good
sometimes
time to
like
reflect.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good
It's a
time
good
to
time to reflect,
reflect.
and it's a good time to
Yeah.
plan for the future too. Realize
Yeah.
that like a
Best
lot of the
time.
stuff that you're doing now is
Yeah.
for the future. And when I say
Yeah.
the future, it's the near future. Like when
Yeah.
everything starts to get back to normal, like I am reaching out to people, doing podcasts, doing
Hmm.
online events for free, because I know that when all these events start opening up and they're looking for speakers, I have tons of content, I
Yeah.
have tons of experience, I have tons of credibility because I've done all of this stuff that I'm planning for the future. Yeah, am I not like making a ton of money right now on all this? Of course, because nobody really
Yeah.
is. It's
Nobody is.
nearly
Yeah. It's
impossible.
okay. It's okay to not
You're
feel
setting
okay in this
yourself up.
time. Yeah. But it's okay to like just like, all right, don't don't be too lazy with everything. Just like just takes little steps at a time. Just like even like this, starting off with like this like inspiring as hell podcast, to like keep going. And like I love this, and like I need to like keep doing this, like almost every single day. Like where it's like little things, like whether it's making content piece, making just something, and like that way you don't feel like you fall into that slump. And I think like sometimes because you're at home, it's just like it's an anxiety of like, oh, okay, like I don't need to do anything right now. But I want to keep going, and it's just even at home, it's a mental battle. So but I
Yeah, and
love
this
this
is what
because
I
it's
would say too.
so
Like,
yeah.
another big thing is people get really
Mhm.
stressed when they post on social media.
Yeah,
Like,
they
they
do.
get really
Yeah.
stressed because they don't know what they're to post, so they feel like
Mhm.
they're obligated to post something
Yeah.
that is like, and then they post something and then they get all stressed because they're like, oh, it's not what I wanted to post. No,
Mhm.
just be yourself. Like, what you
Yeah.
should be posting is your life story. And when I
Yeah.
say life story, it doesn't have to be all about cancer. It could be what you're doing
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
Just put something on your story or something like that. Like,
Mhm.
and B, there's different ways of posting too. There's
Mhm.
there's content, there's
Yeah.
conversion, there's character. So there's different
Mhm.
ways. Like you can post things to convert people, like
Yeah.
meaning like, hey, I'm gonna post this and it's gonna convert them to try and
Yeah.
get my service or product. Or you can say,
Mhm.
hey, I'm just giving you something that I do with my life. Like the other day I posted something where me and my girlfriend were on the beach together and
Yeah.
we're just hanging out. It's just
Mhm.
light. So
Yeah.
don't stress so much about that shit and really just post your story, post what you're
Yeah,
feeling throughout
exactly.
the day.
So
If you're posting what you're feeling throughout the day, people are going to gravitate that because you're being
mhm.
yourself.
Yeah.
That's why.
And that's about the
So
biggest thing, is just to be yourself. And like sometimes like especially with all this stuff going on, like from COVID and even the protests, like you want to help and be a part of it and make sure that like people understand that like you're doing the right, they even for yourself, that you're doing the right thing. Sometimes like especially when you're hearing all this stuff going on, it's like the news and like all these different things, it's like it makes you like feel like you have to like really do something to like help. And it's hard sometimes, especially when you don't know how to like understand every single part of it. So yeah, it's
exactly. And
tough.
I don't
Yeah.
think anybody technically can. I
Yeah.
posted something the other day on my story and I'm like, the first thing I said is, listen, I cannot relate to a
Yeah.
lot of these, people that are going through this stuff. But
Yeah.
what I can relate to
Hmm.
is adversity. I can
Yeah.
relate to challenges. And
Yeah.
that's what a lot of people are facing right now, and
Yeah.
how you deal mentally with these challenges and stuff like
Exactly.
that.
So
So
yeah, it's like they try to like go through all that, and like you just want to help out and like and show like, but it's everyone is going to through struggles, and they may not be the same struggles, but it's like we're still going through something, and we're all going through it together. We all live in this planet, like we only have one, so like we have to like just do the best we can for ourselves and for the people around us. And like just us doing the best that you can for ourselves also means helping and being the best we can for the people around us. Like you said before,
I
it's
love
like
it.
you can't help others unless you can help yourself first. And like you got to make sure you have that, you have a full glass to fill before even filling up someone else's glass. Like you want to make sure that you
Yep.
are there mentally completely. But yeah, it's just like the anxiety sometimes of social media, just making sure that you're putting out the right things and doing the best you can, but with in hopes that people aren't for some reason offended or like upset with what you that but you that you that there's like almost like a lack of care for it. Like you're doing the best you can, and you have your own motivations, and you have your beliefs and what you believe is right. Like so it shouldn't matter what social media is saying or what the news is saying. It's like just being yourself at the end of the day will help you like and help others like do the same thing too, because like we can't be genuine with others if we're not genuine with ourselves too. So yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's tough out there sometimes, and like just seeing everything, and like, and I love that you said don't just even look at your phone for like an hour and a half before like really getting your day started. Like, I feel like I wake up every morning, I'm looking at my phone, just like seeing like all the shit that's
True.
going on, and I'm like, what do I do? What can I do to help? And like sometimes like things naturally just come towards, and like already, and like you don't have to like worry about that, you already have everything at your disposal. But sometimes like you
Yeah,
feel like you don't, but like but looking back at everything and like realizing that everything's okay, and it's okay to not be okay, that you find out your purpose there. So it's like sometimes
it
just
is,
staying
man.
committed to that purpose. Sometimes like you sometimes I forget about what that purpose is, sometimes just because of out of like, laziness, or lack of commitment. It's like you just always got to keep remembering it. But what do you usually like to tell yourself, like when in those times, like where you feel like you're uninspired, where you feel like you don't have it
Yeah.
there? Like what do you usually
So
like
what
to tell
I
yourself and
do,
do? So yeah.
yeah. So what I do is, first I realize that I'm patient in the macro, meaning
Hmm.
patient in my dream,
Okay.
because I know that like your massive goals and dreams aren't going to happen overnight, but I
Mhm.
am urgent in the small goals to getting there. So
Yeah.
for me, when I feel like I'm doing that, what I always tell myself is like, what is my true purpose behind this? And my
Hmm.
true purpose is
True
I
purpose.
want to financially impact 1 million families whose young adults have been impacted by cancer.
Yeah.
Like, I want to be able to go into a room and basically sit down with a family and tell them that they don't have to worry financially about
Hmm.
their son or daughter's cancer,
Yeah.
treatment, because we have that under control.
Hmm.
And that right there, dude, like so much energy and so much emotion. I mean, I've
Hmm.
cried talking about this
Yeah.
to people, and it gives me such an emotional drive that I just know I'm never going to give up on myself. There's going to
That's
be
great.
days where I feel like, oh, I'm just tired and lazy and I don't want to do this, but I'll tell you right now, there's no way in hell I'm giving up on my dream.
Yeah.
And you know what? Those days that you get your ass up and you actually do the shit you're going to tell yourself, this is where you create the true
Hmm.
happiness in your life.
Yeah.
By by actually keeping the promises you make to yourself.
Yeah. Staying true to
I
yourself.
want to say
Yeah.
that again.
Hmm.
Yeah. By
Yeah.
keeping the promises you make to yourself. What that means is when you tell yourself you're going to do something,
Hmm.
you actually do it. And you don't just say it, you take action on it.
Yeah.
That's when you find happiness and fulfillment in your life. Because the reason why we're so down on ourselves and we fall into this anxiety and depression is because we have these goals. Yet, as soon as a challenge comes, like we have to reach out to a person, or we have to post
Hmm.
something that we're scared of, or we have to do something that takes a lot of our energy,
Yeah.
and we just say, screw it, I'm not doing it anymore.
Hmm.
That's what causes anxiety, or that's
Yeah.
what causes depression most of the
Yeah.
time, because you're more capable of doing it. Like,
Hmm.
you're more than willing and more than able to do this,
Yeah.
but in the back of your head that you gave up on yourself,
Yeah. You
that
can't give up on
you could have,
yourself.
you left,
Yeah.
no,
Hmm.
and you gave up yourself in the moment, never,
Yeah.
not silly. But what I would tell people
Hmm.
is, if it already has happened, stop freaking worrying about it.
Yeah.
Too many people worry about stuff like, oh, I wish I could have done this, I wish I would
Yeah.
have invested in this, I wish I
Yeah.
would have done that.
Yeah. Wish I could have done
Stop
this
that.
better, or like do this a different way, and
Yeah,
like
oh,
because
I'd
you're
be a
not happy with it
millionaire
and the
and have,
outcome, and so yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
stop that right now,
Hmm.
because you can't control that. So what you
Yeah.
can do is say, how am I going to be better for the future? How am I going
Hmm.
to not just be better for myself, but for the people I love, for the people
Yeah.
who need to hear
People you
me?
care about
So
too.
that's what
Yeah.
drives me. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I had a cancer bracelet on
Hmm.
for, it broke, but like, it was
That's
a
okay. Yeah.
testicular cancer bracelet. And what I
Was
did
it the
was,
Testicular Cancer Foundation one, or
yeah, it's like a
nice?
big
Yeah.
one. It was
Hmm.
like, yeah, I love
Yeah.
it. And so what I would do is, anytime I'd feel down on myself and I'd
Yeah.
feel like I was in a challenging moment and I was ready to
Hmm.
give up, I'd look at this bracelet and it would instantly bring me back to difficult moments in my life.
Hmm.
And I would use them as the lessons and
Yeah.
tools to be like, listen, I could be in a coma right now. I could
Yeah.
be getting the news I have
Hmm.
cancer. I
Yeah.
could be going through chemo.
But you
But
already
guess
got
what? I
past
have
that.
these
Yeah.
just, yeah. And,
Yeah.
and what I would say is, back then I would
Hmm.
die, like beg to be in these challenges right now
Yeah,
in my life. So
yeah, because they get to the point
shift your
like before,
perspective.
yeah, it is your perspective, because like back then you had no idea that you'd be in the place you are now, and like now looking back, it's like, wow, things could have been a whole lot worse, but here I am today. I'm happy, I'm okay, and I'm here to keep going. So I love that, and like, God, that's inspiring me so much right now. It's like, because I even like sometimes like after like all of this, like literally like just not doing anything, like not being out actively doing something every single day is like has really like thrown me through a loop. And I'm like, all right, I'm at home. I could be lazy. I could play video games. I could do whatever, but I need to like just keep going. Even if at home, like I have the more time to actually do it. And looking back, I have actually done a lot, even in this time, just being in quarantine. But sometimes in the moment, you just feel like, what do I do? I don't know. I'm late. I feel late.
Yeah.
I'm not feeling it right now. You feel
Well,
just emotionally
I want
drained.
you to
So
realize too, dude,
yeah,
like
hmm
you are only 2 years cancer free, man. Like
yeah,
you had cancer,
yeah,
and
hmm
yet we
yeah,
forget sometimes of
hmm
all the struggles and the stress we
yeah.
put ourselves through. And like we aren't, like I keep telling you, sometimes we're
hmm
just not patient enough. Like how old are you?
I'm turning 26 in September. So
Yeah,
yes,
exactly. Dude, we are in our
hmm
20s, dude. We are so
yeah,
freaking young. And as Gary Vee would say, you could fail for the next 10 years, fall flat on your face,
hmm
and still be absolutely okay.
hmm
Meaning, like, you still
yeah.
have about six. We're probably
It's
going to
okay
live,
to
like,
like
honestly, dude, we're going
fail.
to
It
live
is,
over
yeah.
100. But
Yeah,
yeah.
hopefully so. Yeah, I'd love to. Honestly, I want to go up to the day I see actually space. I want to like I have a
Yeah.
for one of the biggest things that I got to just kind of like really put my impact to myself and like and my commitment to myself is like I got a tattoo on my leg. It's like it's a shark surfboard spaceship. It's like the idea of it is behind is like I'm no longer letting my dark thoughts, my the thoughts that drag me down make me drown. I want to take my everything I've been through, use it as fuel to burn my like to burn my fire to go up into space. From no longer from deep sea, I'm gonna go to deep space. So I want to just keep going. So yeah, it's the same thing. Where it's like we're gonna make it. We're gonna as long as we just keep that commitment to ourselves, we're gonna make it and do the best we can. And like yeah,
Yeah.
I really hope that one day both you and I were up in space, just like we're seeing the stars, we're seeing from the Earth
Chilling.
right there. That'd be so great. Yeah, but man, we're space superheroes now at this point. So
Right.
yeah, that'd
I
be so
love it,
great.
man. You
So
know what?
yeah.
Anything's possible, dude.
Yeah,
Like, shit, like 20 years ago, dude, we didn't
yeah,
even have technology basically. Like,
yeah,
technology was like
mhm,
unknown almost,
yeah,
like, no internet, all this stuff. So, you know, possibilities are endless, man. And
mhm,
I think we need to really be present in the moment, be
yeah,
grateful for what we have,
yeah,
be proud but not satisfied. So like,
mhm,
always pushing to be a better version of ourselves, always pushing to
mhm,
help people, always looking
yeah,
to get to the best, the top, wherever we can be in our lives. But also don't be so freaking hard on ourselves that
yeah,
if
has
we
to be,
fail at
mhm,
something and don't get to that place
yeah,
exactly when we want to, it
mhm.
just might not happen.
Yeah, it's
So
okay to fail because like there have been so many times where it's like, all right, I really want this to work, and you work so hard to make sure it doesn't fail. But even in those times where it does, like and not end up the way you want it to, it's like you still did something, and you still learned from that experience. And like even with all the stuff that I've been doing for like raising awareness for testicular cancer and all that stuff, like there's been so much anxiety and fear that like, okay, what if none of people show up? Okay, what if not enough people save up, or we don't raise enough funds for what we're doing? But looking back, like it never ended up being a bad outcome. It always turned out something good. It's like it's just being able to just work so hard to like to not fail, but also be okay with it failing. It's like you still did something. You
failure's
still
feedback.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. There's feedback.
failure's
You learn from
feedback,
it.
man.
So
Like, dude, yeah,
yeah,
if you don't get anybody that goes to your event, then you just got to be like, okay, what did I do to not
yeah,
get these people to go to
yeah.
my event? It
It's a learning
sucks.
lesson. So
That's where it comes to your ego. Like,
yeah,
that's where people need to let go of their ego of like,
yeah,
listen,
hmm
there's going to be people that it's probably not even you. It's just you have to figure out what you need to do to attract these people.
yeah,
What is,
hmm
and leave your ego at the door. Like,
yeah.
that's what I always used to say as a
That's
personal
all you got to
trainer,
do. So yeah, and I love that. Like honestly, dude, I think it would be so great to finally meet you when we go to the Testicular Cancer Foundation Summit, because like just being amongst those other people who have gone through those similar experiences, like it makes you feel like empowered because you have all those people around you, and also like just know like it feels amazing to know that other people you can share that story and people understand a little bit more of it. Like sometimes even here in Charlotte, like there's few and far between of like survivors or people who are going through it have reached out. That I've had a great handful, but like still trying to reach out to those people. It's hard for them to come out of their shell sometimes, and like it's like they'll message me. They see what I'm doing. They'll message me about like, hey, I think that's amazing, and like but sometimes getting them to come out to the events is the hardest part, and I want to keep inspiring people to do that. Sometimes because of like that that we don't get as many survivors or people to come out, it feels a little like sad. Like we I want to make this difference, but I also want to see it physically happen, not just raising funds. I want to see create a support group for that. So like,
Community,
yeah, it
absolutely.
is. Yeah. So like with all the stuff that you're doing, have you had like a good amount of people like survivors so you can reach out to in your area too, or like what is the way that
Yeah,
you have been able to like really get more people to like like other
a lot
survivors
of
to reach
mine
out and
has
stuff?
been, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. A lot of mine's been through like Facebook groups, reaching
Yeah.
out, like me doing direct reach out and
Yeah.
posting on social media. Because like
Yeah.
once you post on social media, you do hashtags, all that, like people
Yeah.
start to recognize you and find you. But for me, it's been social media for sure.
Mhm.
And also a little bit with,
Yeah.
oh no, you're good.
Oh yeah, one
Keep it
second.
going.
I
You're
gotta.
good.
Oh no, I can't. I don't gotta go. But hold on. Sorry. Hold on.
No,
Hey,
you're good.
I'm in a podcast right now. So
Oh, well, hello.
yeah, yeah. It's just she wanted to say hi. So
Aw,
yeah. So
what's her name?
her name's Ada. So
Aw, hi
yeah,
Ada.
yeah. So that's actually my girlfriend's daughter. So no,
Oh, I love
yeah,
it.
yeah. So
That's awesome, man.
we've been together for like 4 months, but with all this stuff, she's been so supportive of everything that we're doing, and like
That's
I'm very
great, dude.
supportive of her, especially her
You
being.
need that.
Yeah.
You can't have
Mhm.
somebody who's there that's not
Mhm.
going to support you. Like that's
Exactly. So yeah,
very important. So,
that support group matters so much. And then I'm sorry, I
does,
didn't mean to
man.
get off track for that for a
No, no,
second,
you're
but yeah,
good. You're good.
yeah. But yeah, like
So,
it just that's the biggest thing is like having that support group, and that's why I love like having like people such as yourself to reach out to. But yeah, like with like just with all this stuff too going on, it's like have you been able to like really like reach out to other survivors and to kind of like get them physically together and things like that, like in
I
your.
haven't gotten anybody physically together yet. No.
Yeah,
So I
that's the
have been
hardest part
able,
for me. I'm trying to figure it out too. So
well, especially
yeah,
during this time,
yeah,
it's impossible.
yeah,
So
mhm,
like, now we're finally starting to get groups back together. But
yeah,
yeah, it's been tough. For me, it's just been trying to figure myself out, man. And
yeah,
then like now it's like now we can go to these groups, now we can meet these people in person and
yeah,
stuff like that. So I think in the future, like I'm sure both of us will
hmm,
start to get communities and groups, especially the
hmm,
clinic, dude. Like there's
yeah.
so many cancer patients. So
There
like
is, yeah,
I'm in what's called a Fourth Angels program, meaning I'm a mentor for different cancer patients
oh
there.
really,
And yeah, so like if somebody's like going through, and it's got to be like this similar to cancer as you. So if there's a testicular like patient and they need help and
mhm.
guidance, like I'm that like mentor for them.
Yeah, and that's amazing because like because that's what we've been trying to do for Saving It. It's like really like be have like basically a support group that's there for other survivors to reach out to
Yeah.
and talk to about what they're going through. Because what I found was interesting is like at at Atrium Health, that's where I got my care, is at the Levine Cancer Institute. They do take care of you. They do a really great job at that. I just wish there was more people like kind of really checking in and be like, hey, are you okay? What's going on in your head? Are you all there put together? Sometimes like
Yeah.
it's great to have your friends and family to like really like be there for you. Of course, like it's not the same as having someone who's also been through it that can really just
Yeah.
you could
And I
talk
had a
through
fourth
everything.
angels
So
for me, so that's kind of
yeah,
what got me into it. I had a person who
mhm,
went through the exact chemo as me,
yeah,
obviously not the same surgeries, but like
but
the same
similar. So
chemo. And
yeah,
yeah, so the chemo, and somebody who can just say, hey, I've been diagnosed in
mhm,
general, that's
yeah,
that's the
it's the same
toughest
thing.
part.
So
So
yeah,
mhm.
yeah. Even for me, it's like so your story is tremendous, and like what I've went through is like with not doing chemo and things like that. Like I almost sometimes I almost feel like almost like that my story doesn't matter, but I talked to other survivors at the foundation summit. They said, dude, your story is probably it matters because it's that outcome of just catching it before it gets any worse means
Oh
so
my
much
God, it's
because
so important, dude.
yeah, yeah,
Like,
it
think of it
inspired anyone
this way,
else.
dude.
So
Everyone
mhm,
has a story. Not everyone's gonna be able to
yeah,
relate going into a coma and going into all this shit.
yeah,
The one thing they can relate to is, me giving them the power of you can overcome what you're going
yeah,
through. But
yeah,
for you, man, like your story is extremely relatable to certain people who have been diagnosed early
yeah,
stages of testicular
yeah,
cancer that need to hear what that step
mhm,
is or how to mentally overcome it. I mean,
yeah.
dude, the words that you have cancer is in itself one of the most challenging things you
It
can
is.
hear and go
Yeah,
through in your
and
life.
even be open about to like just like even right off the bat when I was trying to just tell my friends like, hey, this is what I went through. It was scary, so scary just to even like be open about that, and even like in just like regular life, like like when do you think it's okay to just tell your story? But no, it doesn't matter. It's just like you're telling your story and you're showing how you overcome it. It's a part of you. And I think that was the hardest part for me. But then like seeing all the other survivors is like I almost felt like inferior, but because like my story doesn't match up to them. But Connor from the Testicular Cancer Foundation told me, he's like, dude, like
Yeah,
your scenario is the best scenario that we're looking for this. We want people to catch it early. We want people to understand it, like that this is a thing that affects everybody. And then like,
dude,
and
that's
for
it.
me, that was so great. And like when I went to the foundation summit last year, they gave me the impact award for all the efforts that I was doing. And I'm like, I was so like
Wow.
thankful for that. And I didn't even expect it. And I'm like, they wanted me to share my story about what I was doing with Save a Nut and everything. And I'm like, and it was that moment, I'm like thinking like, wow, this everything I'm doing is actually amounting up to something. Like that, dude, like I can't wait for you to come to that weekend when we actually all get all of us together. Like that was one of
Yeah.
the most emotional, like, and like heartwarming and like life-changing experiences that I ever went through. I literally cried so many times, like just going through all this stuff that we're
It's
going
good,
through.
man. You got to let it
Yeah,
out, dude.
you
You
do.
have
Yeah.
to.
Yeah. And like even right now, I'm like feeling those goosebumps of like awesomeness and amazingness of like that what we're doing, and it is just, it's so impactful. And I love everything
Yeah.
that you're doing, like all your story and what you're doing
You
is
too,
it's
man.
inspired me so much to like, I need to just keep saving all those nuts and everything. So yeah, and like, and just everything. So, and I think that's amazing that you're literally going before COVID, that you were going out there to like, doing keynote speaking and just talking to people in front of the stage. Like I've done that several times, but like, but how many times do you do that? Like before all this
Well,
stuff? Like how much?
online I've done
Yeah.
like 20 or
Yeah.
25 different talks, but before
Yeah.
that, dude, I just started off, so I'd only done
Yeah.
like 3 or 4 like online or 3 or 4 in-person ones. I mean, the
Yeah.
biggest one I did was like about 200 people, but
That's
it was
so
still
tremendous.
like
Like,
a
yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it was a great event. And like
Hmm.
it was actually not with like survivors or anybody. It was
Hmm.
actually in front of a bunch of young adult entrepreneurs. And
Hmm.
dude, like that right there is what kind of triggered me to know that that's my path in life. Because dude,
Yeah.
after I was done and I shared my story with like videos and all these things, dude, like the whole crowd like just gravitated towards me. Dude, they were opening up about shit they hadn't opened up about in like years in their life, and it had nothing to do
Yeah.
with cancer necessarily. It
Hmm.
just had like problems. That's the thing, dude. That's the power of us, dude. Is like we've gone through something so difficult, and when we share our vulnerable moments,
Hmm.
dude, people are so willing to just open
Yeah.
up and be like,
Yeah.
oh my god, I went through this, I went through that, I
Hmm.
went through this, I went through this, and they just want to open up their life
Yeah.
to you. And that's the power of sharing your message, man. That's when it becomes
It
bigger
is.
than
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah, and then that's what
So
I love is we just got to keep going, and like just because we know that it's bigger ourselves, like having that support group, that family, we're like our brothers, they help who have gone through it as well. Like it just makes it more than just what we're going through. We want to make sure that we're 100% there so we can contribute to the world around us, and like
yep.
that's why I'm looking forward to like to the day once we finally are able to have that summit again and just go out there and
Yeah,
just
and I don't know if it's
really go
gonna
through the whole
happen, if it
experience.
is or
Yeah,
isn't, what's going on, but
hopefully
hopefully
soon.
we can.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So, well, dude, I am like super excited that I was being able to be on
Yeah.
this podcast with you,
Yes,
and
thank you so
like,
much, my good sir. So, Matt
no,
Ode, like this has
absolutely,
been
man.
tremendously, amazingly beautiful right here. So, like,
I
thank you.
appreciate it.
So, yeah,
Of
like,
course, dude. And I look
yeah,
forward to working together, and,
yeah,
and connecting more. And
hmm
dude, there's so many things that we are gonna help so many people with, man.
yeah,
Like this is just the beginning, dude. We're
hmm
we're in our we're in our mid 20s, and
yeah.
we
We have
we
the
got a
whole
lot
world
we
still
got a
at our
lot to
feet right
give.
here. So, yes,
And
so
yeah.
yeah, like, so how can I help you, and how can like the people from our listeners first for Go Nuts podcast and Saving That, like, how can like we help you like in the near future and all that? So, like,
Yeah, just
what you got
following
going
my
on?
content.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just follow my content. I mean, so if any survivors are looking
Hmm.
for, this is what I do. So as
Yeah.
a coach, not just a speaker, I am also more of like a purpose-driven coach. So I help these survivors
Hmm.
gain clarity and direction in their life after
Yeah.
cancer. After cancer, me and you were lucky to kind of figure out where our path was, but
Hmm.
not everybody might not know it. So my objective as a coach is to help with the mind, the body,
Hmm.
the spirit, meaning more
Yes, the
purpose,
soul right
figuring out
there.
your
Yeah. Hmm.
exactly, figuring out
Yeah.
yourself, and then impact, using it to help other people. So
Hmm.
if anybody's ever looking for a coach in that caliber, I'd be absolutely love to talk with them.
Yeah, that'd be great. So
I'm
yeah,
building a course too, and all of these things to help people.
nice. Yeah.
And it's not just cancer survivors, it's
Hmm.
people going through difficult times in their lives.
Yeah.
So Besides that though, you know, if you just want to follow me on social media, I post
Yeah,
content all the
Matty
time.
underscore Ode, Odie right there.
There you
Matty
go.
underscore
Yeah,
Odie right
Odie.
there. Oh
I
yes,
love
yes.
it.
There you
That's
go.
it, man.
You gotta check him
There
out
you
there.
go.
So yes,
Yep, you can
yeah.
do that or
Mhm.
Facebook, Matt
Yeah,
Ode on Facebook.
yeah. I added
I
you
have a
the other day
YouTube
too. So
channel. Yeah, I
yeah,
have a
I saw that
YouTube
your YouTube channel
channel.
too. So
Yeah, so
mhm.
I got a bunch of stuff, but really, you know, would love to connect on social media.
Yeah.
And dude, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, seriously, thank you so much. And like honestly, I'm looking forward to the day we actually finally get up and do all this again because
Same.
like it's amazing. And then honestly, like the way like your talks right here, like and like the stuff that you do right now, like, I'd love to like any other survivors that are like they're looking for someone to talk to. Like I mean, of course, I'm always the what like I always want to make sure I'm there for them too. But I'd love to like make sure that like they can reach out to you too. So I'll send them your way if they're ever looking for like someone who's gone through like similar experiences such as yourself. Because for me, it's like I can relate very well with like, as in regards to like, being also a cancer survivor as well. But like sometimes people who reach out to me who have gone through chemo or are gonna go through it and things like that, like
Yep.
they want they
Send it my
sometimes
way.
yeah they just want to know like what it's like and how can they overcome it. So I'll be sure to make sure that we save all the nuts, so everyone's nuts
I
here.
love
So
it. I love
yes,
it. Thanks, Mark.
yes,
That's
yeah. Seriously,
awesome.
thank you so much, Matt. And then
Of
like honestly,
course.
yeah, this has been
We'll
amazing.
talk very soon.
Yes.
Yeah, 100%. Hopefully I get to
Yeah.
see you in person at the summit.
Yeah.
So
Are you gonna go? I've missed out on last week's Testicular Cancer Foundation Zoom call.
call.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
I did too. I need to get on to it this Friday.
yeah,
I'm gonna make an effort as long as
yeah,
I don't have something going on. I'll do my
yeah, yeah.
best. So
I know
maybe
you.
shoot me a text too.
Yeah, I'll let you know. I mean, you know, I know you, man. We're busy. We're busy people right here. So, but
Yeah.
we're doing the best we can and saving all the nuts right
Heck
here. So,
yeah.
yes, on the Go
I
Nuts
love it.
podcast, we're going nuts right here.
Right?
Yes, let's
Let's
do it.
go.
Yes, let's go.
Let's
Right.
do it.
Yes. All right, Matt. Thank you so much again, Zen.
No
Yeah.
problem.